It's so long ago I did that Rome Odunze video. It was the day of the draft. I think it's becoming like pretty strong groupthink in the community. Go get Rome. Speaking of go get Rome, shit talking Metro, 2 first and 2 seconds, or Rome and Tyler Warren. Lineup start 10 here.
Welcome to South Harmon.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back into the Dynasty Trade Show. We're so glad you are here. And just a reminder right off the rip, if you want your deals featured on this very show, patreon.com/South Harmon. That's where you can find it. If you want dope signed merchandise behind us, behind me, Adam, we got to get you some. Come on. You got Nick Chubb. All right, you got Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb will forever.
I was gonna say the last time I got some signed shit, Mike, it got weird and bad, and I'm taking a little bit of a hiatus, you know. That's fair. But signed shit, signed sh.it. Go get you some really dope merchandise there from Ultimate Autographs, our preferred sponsor. And then, of course, if you just want to rock the latest swag, go get you whatever you'd like. They pretty much got everything. How about a jersey shirt like we were wearing last time? I mean, if it's fan gear, if you're a fan, they have it. They got you covered. I'll say as well, it's not just signed shit, by the way. I curse without the signatures on there too. So we're hoping to uncurse some things in a trade, which just went down. I mean, we're talking fresh off the presses. Let's stop.
What a way for me to leave work.
I was gonna say what. Mike, I hit Mike up like, hey, do you have a trade for the start of the show? He's like, not even a one. I'm like, you know what?
I should have lied.
Let's go to the lab and see what we can cook up. Buddy, I hate to be that guy, but let's go cook it up, man. Let's see what happened. This isn't even about, for the record, the lab. We're talking the trade, buddy. What are you thinking here when you see this trade go down? Just give me the real. Just give me the honest.
Again, a league that has been featured on this show many times over the last couple years. Rusty tromboners forever.
It's not about butthole pleasures at all.
It's not about this rusty trombone and dirty Sanchez.
It's all about the rusty tromboners.
It's not about butthole pleasures at all.
This, again, pisses me off. It irritates the shit out of me. It just does. I'm just infuriated. Adam, I'm trying to compete with you in this fucking league, and you just keep getting deals done left and right. Meanwhile, I just sit here with my thumb up my ass doing absolutely nothing. And, again, just another kick in the nuts. So, listen, you got Rashee Rice, A.J. Brown, Matt Stafford, DeAndre Swift, James Cook, and we're just going to toss in a Khalil Shakir.
Mike, can I tell you that we actually did... We did talk about tossing in a Khalil Shakir here. I will even admit it.
This is horseshit. Four first, a second, and a third.
This wedding is horseshit.
You are balls deep on competing this year, literally, figuratively. So it is about the pussies and the cocks and the balls.
I was gonna say it's all about the butthole pleasures and the rusty trombones and the dirty Sanchez.
You're so far deep into this. Oh my god.
At this point, I'll just tell you this. I started small. I was like, let's just do the tip, and we got all the way in. These are all my picks through 2027. The two wild cards are roster baiter and B country, right? Mike, I wanted to keep the theme as well. Roster baiter not being a part of the trade, but putting his pick into the trade. So his in 2027 and B country in 2026. These are teams that I think to me have potential middle of the road but failed contender written all over it too. So mid to potential early, and rusty trombone holding over the leverage of those picks. At first I asked B Hall, I like to do this when I'm having a trade discussion right off the rip. What do you think of your team? Like, what are you trying to do? What's your direction? He told me a shitty contender, which gave me, okay, I know what you're saying here, but let me just switch gears on you here. What if I throw in B countries first? What does that get me? And we started, again, small, and we got to this point. Mike, let me ask you, with the potential for mid to become early picks in B country and roster baiter, do you forget me and you and the whole rusty trombone thing? Like, just from the standpoint of if you're trying to rebuild here and you get two potential early first, how do you feel about it for the other end?
It feels fine, because in reality, it's a best ball league, and I'm not competing in a best ball league. Right, and I don't have any like glorified superstar assets. There's nothing, as much as people will push up Rashee Rice. You know my hesitation with him.
Me too.
these are contending pieces, right? Like there's no like, oh, long-term build around this kind of guy piece in the deal. Like there's not.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of uncertainty for all of them, whether it's age, whether it's, they got one more year, whether it's a contract situation, whether it's are they actually good.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit rough. It's a little rough out there, especially with what he's getting back or giving up and you're getting back. So I think as much as it pisses me off that you got a lot better, it makes sense for P. Hall to do this move because
Yeah.
I try to break it down.
I was just gonna say, can we go cancel out deal here?
Yeah, you pick one of those like middling first. Like as much as I like James Cook, right? And I'm happy about James Cook. Like, all right, let's just say B Countries first is out of the deal. Like I'm okay selling James Cook for just that on a rebuild in a best ball. I really am. Like I don't know what that contract situation is.
Would you sell it for? Let me just ask you, if we put that to mind, would you sell James Cook for a late first in a rebuild?
Probably not. Probably not. I tried to juice out the second or the third or something like that.
Can I tell you? And maybe I'm just getting a little bit nervous for putting the cart ahead of the horse, so to speak. But the whole offseason just hasn't felt really warm and fuzzy for James Cook. I feel like he's actually a part of the deal where I wasn't as sure. If you told me he had a contract or like this wasn't as weird, listen, what he did last year was unreal, right? He had all those damn touchdowns. I'm just a little bit nervous about him specifically, but to me, I was like, okay, I'll give you a late first if some of the other stuff comes into the package. Which let's just say for the sake of, actually, you know what startup ADP is he going at? I'm kind of curious now, just for the sake of old school roots, right?
Here. Oh yeah, old school roots. Let's pull that one up, Mr. James.
I was gonna guess like late fifth.
505.
Okay, so yeah, he's probably more than even a late first. You're right. Okay.
Going ahead of Christian McCaffrey and Chase Brown, for reference.
That's kind of insane to me.
Ahead of R.J. Harvey and Caleb Johnson.
Those are fine. I'm okay. But, man, ahead of McCaffrey and there was another one. Chase Brown. Wow, after the year he had. Okay.
And Derrick Henry.
Yeah. Derrick Henry is that's a man amongst boys.
So the community doesn't hate James Cook, so
sure.
I'm trying to get more.
And I also will admit, like I even said ahead of time, I think I'm just getting a little bit maybe uncomfortable. I'm not saying everybody is. It's just me personally there. Okay. So let's just say, though, what would you say then would A.J. Brown cost in a best ball start 13?
Probably that other mid first and let's say the second.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's fair. So let's say roster baiters and my second. Okay. Got it.
Yeah. And then like toss in either Stafford or DeAndre Swift into that too, because that mid to early first.
I was just going to say that was where I was going to push back, but that actually makes a lot more sense when you add in that to it. Agreed.
So we got both mid first out of the way. We got, let's say, the second con, but on the other side, we're losing James Cook, we're losing A.J. Brown, and let's say Matthew Stafford.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we still got two more first, late. One of them in 27, though, so he's pushing it out a full year. Like, hey, maybe something bad happens to Adam's fucking team. You know, maybe
this day wasn't quite as good as everyone thought, right?
Right. And I think for that, Rashee Rice for that 27 first, even though I know it's coming from you, who's a contender now, I think I can make, and let's say the third, and then the other first, the definite late first for Khalil Shakir. It ends up being kind of a wash, right? You end up putting it in there. Like you might have got a little bit more juice. He could have got a little bit more out if he pieced them out individually, right? From like, we're still missing a Swift out of this on the other side of this equation, this math equation.
Yep.
But it's pretty fair up and down the board. And especially when you say like, listen, if I was a contender, I want a little bit extra juice, right? Like if I'm doing this trade and I'm giving up all these draft picks, especially when a couple of them have the potential. We're not saying that they're locked in, but they have the potential of being early.
Yeah.
I want to feel a little bit more on the win side.
Yeah.
And as a rebuilder, I'm okay taking a little bit less just to get this fucking done. Like
there you go.
To put the stamp down that says, hey, B Hall is open for business. I am tanking this motherfucker. Come get whatever the fuck is left on this team.
There you go. You just hit, and everyone, if you didn't catch all of that, like pause, because it's Rusty Tromboners if you didn't catch all of that. But listen to that again, seriously. That point is kind of where the deal continued to work more and more and become like a monstrosity at the end. I'm like, holy crap, I'm losing 4 first here, but you're okay with it when you're getting all this return. But for him, right, Like, if I'm going to make this deal, I want to get off of Stafford. I want to get off of Swift. As much as we just talked yesterday, literally on AMA about Swift in a startup, if you're telling me you're going to rebuild, I mean, I want to get off of Swift, buddy. I definitely want to get off of Matthew Stafford. Rashee Rice, A.J. Brown, Khalil Shakir, James Cook, I don't have to get off of them, but, you know, they're all going to go at a price. Everybody can go at a price when I'm going to rebuild. The way I was kind of thinking about it, just quickly on the surface, just not saying it was in favor of me or him, just thinking about it this way. If there's a mid to potential early first, if I went 1 to A.J. Brown and 1 to Rashee Rice, thinking that they could be a top 3 pick in a super flex league, just roughly, right? And I'm thinking, okay, that leaves Shakir, Cook, Stafford, Swift. Late first and a second and a third, I'm okay with it, buddy. I'm okay with it. Like,
Yep.
It cleaned out my entire cupboard. I'm out now, right? I was at the one thing about this for him, I like that B Hall continued to push it up the ranks as far as more picks and getting all of them. Because one thing I did have weirdly in this league was I was in a contending spot with you already, but I had some potential gems in my own first. I was the one team that kind of had a little bit of that youth movement still to play around with. Now that is all gone. I don't have any joker cards, so to speak. It's all gone. And if you're B Hall, if I'm going to push from this team that I think is a crusty contender, I'm sorry. Like, you got to get me on the needle to go all the way to the rebuild and get there in a hurry. So I like it from his standpoint, honestly, too. This was a trade that I was hoping to make like a first or a second trade, Mike. I was hoping to trade a first and a second, just kind of inch my way there. And now it's like, all right, we're all in, buddy. So fuck it, let's go. You know.
Yep. I'm still riding shotgun in this league. Again, another trade show episode. Just number 2, staying solid.
It was actually funny because after I made the trade, I was texting Mike as if he hadn't seen it. Because the last time I made a trade in this league, you hadn't seen it. And I was like, well, hey, just so you know, I might be like 5 minutes late. I'm trying to get this file ready to go. I just made a big trade. He's like, yeah, I know. Fuck you. Well, hey, would it be the trade show? B Hall, let's make a trade today. How about Big Truss? Brian Thomas, which was the piece I was actually dangling in that league, Rusty Tromboners, and trying to trade. And nobody was willing to really bite. Mike, CD or Brian Thomas in a second here?
CD Lamb. Mm-hmm. I don't need any real context on this one. I don't need WoRP for this. This is CD Lamb. Like, as good as a year Brian Thomas.
Crazy because we talked about this in a 10-team league. I feel like maybe 2 weeks ago. Now this is a 12-team league in a start 11. But even still, the second doesn't quite get me rocked up enough, if that makes sense. You know?
Nope, not enough for me. As good as Brian Thomas was last year and as excited as we are for him, you know, I was one of the prospects wide receivers coming out. If you remember this time last year, I was like, dude got first-round draft capital. Like, you guys better fucking pay attention. Nobody really listened. Mm-hmm. And he had a hell of a year. But I know what the fuck CD Lamb is. CD Lamb is a fucking dog. So, like, the potential to ruin your league with the amount of WoRP he can put up.
So to that point, I'm getting ready. We're going to do on Savage Semester tonight. We're going to have a new game, levels to this shit, right? King shit. Now, part of the game is going to be, it's like Jeopardy style, but there's a different scoring settings. And speaking of scoring settings, last year, Jamar Chase kind of broke the receiver position, right? 23.7 fantasy points per game. Mike, do you care to guess what CD scored the year prior? Speaking of breaking leagues.
Ooh, we're talking the entirety of the season?
Points per game in the 2023 year, yep.
Let's go 24.8. Just off.
How about 23.7 exactly? Like, Jamar Chase destroyed the league last year, and CD did it 2 years ago to the exact same degree. It's just that people completely forget about it because it's a little bit of a pastime. Like,
did we fail to mention too that after their bye week of that year, like if you just want to look.
I once went deep. Speaking of balls deep, buddy, he broke fantasy in the post bye that year. Something
he was phenomenal
you never see.
He was phenomenal for the whole year as an entirety. Mm-hmm. But we also have to remember there was a few disappointing and quite a few disappointing games earlier in the season from that whole offense. It was not good. But after the bye week, went on a fucking tear. Like, we talk about playoff winners, right?
Playoffs.
And I think what did it, I'm gonna take credit for this. Do you remember we did a trade show?
I will never. Listen, I will never forget. We were besmirching the name of CD, and we were talking shit to Fizz. They come out of the bye, and I'll never forget on recap, dude. It was a Halloween actually, and Dak CD went for, I think they literally broke the league. It was like 40 points. I think CD went for
39.6 in your standard PPR league. 17
How
targets,
close is
13
Damn, I
catches,
love
2
that.
touchdowns, 146 yards. Yeah.
So PPR, for the record, in that season, right, including Superflex, he scored essentially what Josh Allen did. He was in a half point per game of what Josh Allen was. To your point, their bye week was, what was that? Week 7. So you want to go weeks 8 on? I'm going to guess, Mike, forget quarterbacks. You don't need them. CeeDee Lamb, 28.5. 28.5 fantasy points per game relative to Josh Allen. Next closest player, 24.7. CD can break fantasy. I'm not saying Brian Thomas wasn't great down the stretch. I'm not saying he still can't be the elite player, and he can't prove on a bigger sample size that he's actually belongs in the elite tier. For me, it's just a second-round pick. I don't need to go to the lab. I don't need to go to the WoRP tool. That second-round pick just isn't going to do it for me personally.
Even, let's hypothetically say that was locked in 201.
I mean, okay. Now you're talking a dirty Sanchez to me, maybe. Like, okay, you're making me think a little bit now, right?
I think even there, I still want CD.
I probably would still take CD, but you at least now make me think, because that's almost a first, right? In his lineup start 11. If you told me that, Mike, I'd probably think, and then you know what the worst part is? That people are going to think I hate BTJ. I actually love him. I tried to trade him. No one would give me anything worth it. I kept him. Man, even still, at 201, I'm probably just saying, let me keep CD, buddy. Because I've seen it enough out of CD, and I still believe that he has even upside to capture for a full season that he did in that second part of the year in 2023. So,
breaking news: that second is not the 201. By the way,
I kind of figured there was a percentage chance that it wasn't that good.
It's right now in the mid spot, and looks like on a team that leverages entire. It could be a failed contender, but usually when you see those failed contenders like that so solidly in the mid, like they are on the lab right now with this, at best you're looking at 204. You know what I mean?
There you go.
At best. So yeah, CD Lamb by a
lot,
fucking mile. Yeah.
I think they're going to be some people big mad about this, because
that needs to be a first.
Here's what I was going to say, Mike. I think the reason people are going to be some big mad about this is I think a lot of people have these guys in similar tiers, if not the same tier. And so I bet you some people out there might even lean BTJ, which is where I think the process side, just remove the names and think about tiers. You're like, well, give me the second. I kind of get it in a start 11, Mike, but to be honest with you, this is one of those things for me where I get the process, and I'm going to stick to the process a lot of times. But when we're talking elite tier assets, if I'm not feeling, really warm and fuzzy, like I'm not going to let you nickel and dime me, so to speak. I know a second's not a true nickel and dime type of a piece, right? It's a solid piece. But if it's not, to your point, an early second, and if I don't have the ability to kind of dangle it as an early second, I'd probably just go ahead and stick with the guy that I trust in and believe in a little bit more.
Last year was a down. We said it the last time this one came up. Last year was a down year by CD Lamb standards, and by Dallas Cowboys offense down. Mm-hmm. Wide receiver 4 in WoRP.
I was going to say 3 or 4 depending on the scoring. Like it's for sure.
Brian Thomas. We mentioned this one. The Mac Jones versus T-Law splits.
Sure.
I'm not saying that's the absolute case, Adam, but it is something to make you pause. And go.
It's definitely, okay. Mike, I will admit to everybody listening, if you do like the other side, I'm not sitting here telling you that there's not a case where you're like, man, they are actually the same tier some point next year, and you're like, I got the free second there. Cool. I get that, and it's definitely in the range of outcomes easily. To me, with Travis Hunter coming over, with Trevor Lawrence now under center for the whole season while healthy, there's enough reasons for me to just be a little bit skeptical to not want to do it for a mid to late second. So,
yep.
Speaking of, Mike, it's crazy because it's so long ago I did that Rome Odunze video. It was the day of the draft.
Yeah.
And I think it's becoming like pretty strong groupthink in the community. Go get Rome. Speaking of go get Rome, shit talking Metro, Mike, 26 and 27 first and a 26 and 27 second. The thing about this is, though, the pollution of the deal with the Tyler Warren asset in there and a half-point tight end premium. 2 first and 2 seconds, or Rome and Tyler Warren lineup start 10 here.
We love Rome because his ADP and his price seems to be forgotten, and you got some people saying sell Rome Odunze while you have a chance, which has kind of kept that down. There's enough hate around Rome Odunze where
There's enough uncertainty for sure. Yep.
I'm not saying I wouldn't, Adam, but let's just say you make me put a 26 first and second on acquiring Rome Odunze. I start to have a little bit like, oh man, like, because that is right about what you have to pay in a startup right now. You know, like a fifth round, just in general, generically is worth a random first and second, right? Like we're already paying that. So we start the deal off there where I go, no, man, like I could make an argument for either side. As much as I love Rome, I could also say I'm very comfortable with just...
You're getting closer to the, you're feeling like you're paying closer to full market boat, right?
Full market value, right? And if I got to pay full market on Rome Odunze, we're split. If I got to pay a little bit over market on Rome Odunze, I don't like him as much. You know what I mean? Like the bet doesn't seem as good. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you why. I 100% agree with the statement you're making, and I think the reason, right? The bet on Rome for me is that he's talented enough to be someone that's starting to take over the wide receiver one position on this team that's going to take a huge step forward. So this fifth round startup pick now becomes a third or a late second. Here's the problem. At a certain point, the balloon that you're trying to get in value bump, if you pay it up front, you're like, all right, well, I'm going to just give you the value bump that we already know is coming for sure. Well, now the uncertainty really starts to get in the back of my head. Like, wait, what if this doesn't happen? Like, I'm paying for the future price here, in my estimation, Mike. Even with these picks, Rome to me is one of the guys that I think very, very realistically, without getting crazy as far as production and projecting him to take a huge, huge step forward, if he's a top 20 receiver in fantasy points per game, like in that range, I think he's going to be valued as the top 12 receiver in Dynasty. But that's like, what do you have to pay for Ladd right now? Like, if you put Ladd in the deal here, you might say market-wise you like it a lot better because Tyler Warren is included. But even there, I would struggle with this deal with a guy like Ladd in this deal at a 26 first, a 27 first, a 26 second, and a 27 second, frankly.
Yeah, and now let's get to the glaring, flashing light here. You know how against Tyler Warren I am not.
I was waiting for you to go here. I knew it was coming.
There is no fucking universe, and I don't care what the tight end WoRP is, that I would ever pay a first and a second for Tyler Warren. Ever. I don't give a shit if you told me it was the 112 and the 212.
Even if there's a fire.
Even if there's a fire, I'm not doing it. So, but let me take a step back and be more reasonable here. Tyler Warren, what's his rookie ADP right now?
Well, go to Dynasty Data Lab while I take us to a
there you go.
The portal.
Take us to the portal.
WoRP.life. WoRP is life.
The Mike, 108.
108. Okay.
That's what people love in Tyler Warren, like in this deal. You know what I mean? That's what people love. The 108. Adam, would you pay a 27 first and second for the 108 in this class?
I might, Mike, pay for the 108 depending on who's on the board, but honestly, I wouldn't do it for Tyler Warren. Now,
let me pick a player.
Go ahead. There you go.
If it was Quinshawn, would you pay that?
I don't think I would.
Travion.
He maybe. That's like the potentially maybe, but probably not, honestly, Mike, if I'm being completely honest.
Ibuka.
No. It's not warranted. I would love to get Ibuka. I value him higher than those guys, but no.
So let's start the list on the players, hypothetically, in this fantasy
I would
world
do it for like a Tet type range and higher, right?
Genty. Yes.
Yes,
Hampton.
Of course. Yes.
Hampton?
Hampton, I probably would, but it's, again, a bet I don't love because I want to get more steady production if I'm doing that, but I'd probably do it. Cam, just for the sake of the quarterback market play, I'd probably be okay with it.
Travis Hunter.
Yes.
Tet.
Probably uncomfortably, yes. And I'm getting to the point of end of list, yeah. Like, if you wanted to do it for TreVeyon Henderson, if you're really bullish, I probably would be too uncomfortable to do that even there, Mike. So, yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yep.
And that's listen, this was Tyler
But I will
Warren,
say 108, Mike, I've seen now like 10 to 12 drafts, honestly, in rookie drafts, in Superflex, 12 team. Cam Ward's there. Yes, I would trade a 27 first and second of my team for Cam.
And, like I talked about with Rome Odunze, Cam Ward's ADP in startups, right around Rome Odunze in the mid-fifth, which you are at, like, talk about community market, you are at absolute peak again. So even if you made that and you told me it was Cam Ward, I'm like, you must really believe in Rome Odunze and Cam Ward. Like you got to be fully on board with both of those guys to make this deal. Plus, you're leveraging your picks in fucking June, Adam. That usually doesn't work out well.
So that trade prior, where it's like, oh, you guys are full of shit. The process is taking the second with BTJ. Well, sometimes there's a little bit of a caveat in the process. Mike, in the caveat with Tyler Warren, which again, maybe I need to try to get in some other leagues that aren't just complete shithead leagues, because I know this market thing in most of those leagues doesn't exist. But like the one thing about Tyler Warren, you look at this WoRP last year. It's actually pretty damn good for a half tight end premium. I'm kind of shocked, frankly.
Right up until
tight end 4,
tight end 4, 5, 6.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, in Joku even here and Janu, like okay, I can live with it. It's close to 2, but you really do start to get to the point where it's obviously low, and it's just we're getting very Zach Ertz, for God's sakes, Mike, right here. How's Zach Ertz? My ball, Zach Ertz. Pat Freiermuth. Like, I guess here's the thing. From the production standpoint and just the plain bet of him being a high producer early in his career in this Indianapolis offense, not something I want to do. But we have seen how many times guys that don't do hardly jack shit in some leagues, you're like, people are paying 2 first. Now, again, I don't know the market here, but if you genuinely think if Tyler Warren has a, top 10 week, I'm talking week or back-to-back top 10 weeks, and you can flip for 2 first or something like that, that's the caveat in the market play here. To me, that's the only thing that would make sense for Tyler Warren. And to me, it's very uneasy. The idea, I feel like I'm playing with fire because I have to now, I'm almost reliant on somebody becoming a buyer for this to be a process play that makes sense.
Yeah, and I'm gonna reference back to one thing, right? Shout out Dynasty Barry for the rookie hit rate charts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh yeah, please.
Tyler Warren's just gonna fall into round 1 draft capital on the rookie hit rate within their first 3 years. Average WoRP in just generic leagues. First 3 years. How many times would you say he round 1 tight ends have hit top 6, right? We just talked about 6 in this league. WoRP for tight end was pretty decent.
Wasn't it like 15%?
It's even worse.
Was it worse? Okay.
9%.
9. Okay. I knew it was low. That's not terrible, but it wasn't the best guess I've had. So yeah, less than 10%. I mean, 15, 10, they're not good numbers. I knew it was not a very good bet on the production side. And I think that's the main thing with the young tight ends to consider is understanding your market, and you got to have the discipline as well. Like the crowd and the noise, the insane euphoria is going to be so loud if Tyler Warren has a couple weeks where he's seriously a top 10, 8 tight end. People are going to be telling you that he is the next coming of Brock Bowers. As insane as that sounds, I'm telling you, it's going to happen. You got to have the discipline to try to sell then, right?
The data sample size for that, for people who hit Tyler Warren's draft capital, right? Going back to 2007, 20 tight ends. 20 tight ends, Adam. Tight ends are 1 for 20. You tell me if that's a good shooting percentage. That's even in baseball, where you just got to bat 300 to make it to the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? You're a Hall of Famer if you bat 300. That's still below that.
Listen, 1 for 20 is one of those where, like, even your best friends, your teammates, they're looking at you like, I dare you to shoot again. Like, just keep doing this. You don't have to worry about the other team. I'm knocking you out. You go 1 for 20, right?
For context, DeAndre Jordan shot like 46% from the free throw line.
Mike, you know what? That's like James Harden in a Game 7 and 1 for 20 type deal, right? Like that's.
No, we did it to James Harden, you son of a bitch.
Get the jersey out of the rafters. It's just not in the arena, okay? You know exactly
James.
where it is.
Apologies, James. God damn it. No, this is.
And you know what?
I won't say
sorry. Yeah,
I want the pick side of this.
Yeah, I think this is a good example, though, Mike, of. It's what's so hard about trying to talk buys and what I want to do in the market. Like, I want to buy Rome Odunze at startup value. I want to buy Rome Odunze at his market cost. Like, this trade could still work out completely fine. It's just at the point now where what I'm paying here, I'm a little uncomfortable. One, of the risk of what happens if my team isn't built well. What happens if this goes awry? But then, two, even if it hits, I'm getting closer to paying – the future price, right? Like in the stock market, if you knew that a stock was going to go up. You had a really good gut feeling, but you're like, all right, it's going to go up maybe 20%. You're going to pay 10% above the stock right now. Like, all right, I don't know if I like that as much, Mike. That's kind of how I feel.
And the above, right? You know, the context on the lab for that guy leverage, right? I'll give it to you real quick, Adam.
You know what? Here, buddy, let's do it. Come on.
Leveraged his entire future with his Superflex room being just comprised of the Giants quarterback room. You know what I mean? Russ, Jackson Dart, Jameis Winston.
You mean the one that might not even be the Giants quarterback room if all things go awry next year? Oh, buddy.
Yeah.
Yikes.
The entirety of the Giants quarterback room. That's what he leveraged it on. And a bunch of youth, a bunch of young guys. Right?
What's his team? I want to pull it up here.
I typed in X707 is a lot easier to look.
Smart. You know, Mike.
Take the easy way out.
Mike, you're much smarter than people give you credit for. I'll tell you. Especially when you get to the lab, you're just efficient.
University Dynasty.
All right. Ooh, 11?
That's X707's tanking.
Okay,
but the
fair
guy who
enough.
acquired him is the number 3 team in the league right now there.
Shit talking Metro.
Yep.
All right, so obviously, RJ Harvey, Alvin Kamara, Malik, BTJ, Tyler Warren, Ladd, Rome. You can see there's a type here. He's got a type, right? Shit talking Metro's got a type. He wants to get the young and the production. So I get it. But, man, Mike, what if we're looking at seriously at some point throughout the year the Giants continue to just lose games. They're not doing well. And you now don't have a first in 26, 27, right? And you need to go get a quarterback. Now, here's the thing. You can always go probably get one cheap or find somebody, but you're going to have to tear into the core of this team in order to do so now, right? Because you don't have those liquid picks. So it could work out, but this is probably not what I would be liking to do with my future picks.
Nope.
To get these two players, personally.
No thanks. No thanks. These aren't the ones that I go, that puts me over the top, baby, right? Because we're still banking on upside. We're still banking on a lot of things, as well as the rest of the roster, right? You're banking on Brian Thomas Jr. being what he was or improving. You're banking on RJ Harvey having a big role coming right in to the league and not being a disappointment. You're banking on Jaden Higgins, who's right now in his flex spot, for fuck's sake. You're banking on the Giants, either Russ being great or all of a sudden Jackson Dart steps in at some point and actually produces in his rookie year.
Bro,
you start to rely too much on youth, Adam, you usually get burnt in Dynasty.
Well,
you really do.
Let me give Metro a little bit of his own medicine here, okay? It's nothing personal, but sometimes we have to go here. Like, the shit talking, I get it. The team looks, it's early and often. If you're that type, you can kind of roster bait to it. But, man, Mike, play this game with me right now of potential problems. I like to do this game where we pick two assets. Not crazy. Just two assets. They go down. What are we doing just in that scenario? Especially when you remove your future liquidity that you can, become flexible and trade away. Let's not even get crazy, but let's say that the pieces that go down are, let's say it is Jared Goff, and let's say it is Odunze, who you just purchased. Let's say these guys get hurt, okay? So now we're just looking at the lineup.
Yep.
You don't have anything other than the Giants quarterback room, and I don't think many people feel good about starting one of them, let alone two of them.
Both of them at the same time. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, at the same damn time.
So no Superflex quarterback now.
Right. And you now have, okay, honestly, without Rome, not knowing he's a surefire piece, you could probably get away with it, but you already have Higgins in your lineup. Let's say you put Swift in. Like, you're at the point where Jaden Higgins, I mean, we'll see what his production's like. Mike, look at the bench, though. Jack Besh, Troy Franklin, Dontavian Wicks. This was a best ball, non-best ball receiver we would talk about. I mean, like, we're needing some juice inserted into this. This is one of those things where it's very prestigious at the top. There's a lot of the names you'd like to see, and if everything breaks right, this could end up threading the needle and be like, holy crap, look at this team. The problem is you're flirting with a couple little cracks, and now all of a sudden you have to deassemble some of these players that you've kind of consolidated into. So I personally, Mike, I don't love it, and I'll tell you the reason I don't love it is not because shit talking Metro, I want to talk shit to you. It's because I have built teams like this. Mike and I have had for years talked about building a team like this, and I have seen teams with honestly even better depth and better high-end assets that, Mike, I'm on the outside of the playoffs by like week 6 and thinking, damn it, how do I get them picks back?
Yeah.
I can't
Unless I trade away Malik Neighbors or Brian Thomas or whoever. Right?
I don't want to do that.
No,
What?
I'm good.
Yeah, Mike, the pieces of Rome and Tyler Warren, they make your lineup look nice, but it's not the pieces I want to leverage 2 years of first in for. How about Koopa Troopa here? How about a likely trade from Koopa? Dude,
Koopa pays attention.
a fifth and a fourth here is just so not relevant at all. Like, who gives a shit when it's...
No one cares.
I understand with Isaiah Likely, there's a market. But, Mike, this is a guy that gave you 1 week in best ball.
Week.
In best
Usable.
ball. Like,
What?
Fact check me. Am I wrong on that?
You are, right?
Okay.
You are. So in lineup leagues, he gave you 1 usable week. In best ball, if you had him on your roster, you enjoyed week 1. Most people did not in lineup leagues, right?
Right.
Nobody started.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So two in best ball.
Week 1, he went for 26 points.
Okay.
Right. Week 5
Fair.
is the one that you point to in lineup leagues that maybe at that point people were still starting him, even though he did absolutely nothing up until that point.
Sure.
Right. So we're just going to say that you took 3 weeks of him being tight end 22, 51, and 30. You still had the conviction in week 5 against Cincinnati to enjoy his 16.3 tight end 4 performance.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Yep. Outside of that, again, it took until week 13 then for him to be a top 10 tight end. Again, like even sniff it, 14.8 tight end 9. And then you had 1 more week, Pittsburgh, he was tight end 10, which I think we've done enough preaching about tight ends don't matter. Yeah, tight end 10, right?
Right.
Tight end 11. That is shit I can pick up off waivers sometimes and just get just as lucky.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Did I hear you say just sniff it?
And
Just
butthole
sniff it.
pleasures.
It's not about butthole pleasures at all.
It's not about this
you sniff it?
trombone and dirty Sanchez.
Mike, I want to go to WoRP, okay? I want to go to WoRP. I think it's important that we go to the WoRP tool, all right? There's a reason WoRP is life. And there's a reason it should change your life, because a trade like this, I think when you use WoRP, Mike, it can open your eyes. At least for me, it has at times. With DeAndre Swift, last year, especially with how this room has literally brought in nothing, I think it's a floor comparison, frankly. DeAndre Swift last year, right? Like,
Yes.
so with that in mind, let's take a look at, first of all, can we look at this tight end line? This is about as sad as a line can be.
This is so disgusting.
This looks like a line, Mike, that needs like some, a blue chew really badly. This is crazy, dude. You're telling me Brock Bowers last year, 1.458. I mean, go across. You're talking, all right, James Conner. But that's the best tight end is James Conner. To the point of DeAndre Swift, we just did on AMA. They're going 1 pick from each other, Conner and DeAndre Swift in startups. Where did DeAndre Swift finish last year? I'm actually curious in this league. Let's see if we can find her. A lot of line crossing. Let's get rid of some lines, Mike. Make it easier.
There you go. Make it easier for you.
Maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not going to promise anything, but we'll go through this one by one. How about 1.1 WoRP? Mike, do you care to guess where
the greatest tight end?
Do you care to guess before we pull this line back up where a likely finish?
22.
I'm gonna get like WoRP wise. Do you think it's like 0.6 with that line?
That line was so fucking bad at him.
I don't even know if it's that high.
He might be point. Yeah, it's worse.
Oh my! That really got out of hand fast. Where is the guy?
There you go.
0.469. Yeah. Well, I said 0.6. How about 0.469? Here's the thing. Isaiah Likely in this format in production is just not a smart bet.
So here's a list of running backs that were more valuable last year. Javonte Williams.
Do this. That's not
Bigsby,
fair.
Alexander Madison, Jerome Ford.
Amir Abdullah almost gave you the same WoRP, Mike.
Austin Eckler, Ray Davis.
Buddy, look at this. Yeah. It's behind Mike's head. You can Amir Abdullah got you close in wins over the replacement player.
Yeah.
Ray Davis was the same production. Justice Hill. Jerome Ford. Like
comfortably better.
DeAndre Swift was it 19? I would say, without even being super bullish, going back to the old days when Swift had a market that was actually kind of crazy. At this point, I'm just showing my age by even thinking about those things and saying them. Don't you think it's realistic for him to be around like 1.3 in this league without even getting crazy? Around Connor last year?
Could possibly do it. Yep.
That's like 3 to 4 times what Isaiah Likely could give you.
Yes, it is. Yeah. This was easy.
Now, and the other crazy part is that the 4th is on the Likely side and the 5th is on the Swift side. So, I don't know. You guys make sense of that. I can't figure it out anymore. Math is hard.
Disgustingly bad. Good job, Coop. Way to pay attention that
Hey,
Koopa Cut has him at tight end.
I wanted to say this too. When we had another trade from this league with the same manager, Wheels Deals, last week, we were recording the trade show, and I watched that go into the completed trades channel. It's like, we got a hot thing going here. Let's keep this going. Let's see if I can get one more out of you. Wheels Deals. If you're here, I promise it's not anything personal, but that's what the Warp tool says, buddy. How about Crispy O, Lad McConkey, Danny Dimes, A-Rich? So let me take them both. I will go the Eric Vanek approach. Let me get both of them, and I'll take all their points. 26 second for Ricky P, Brock Purdy, and a 26 first of Crispy O. Where are you at here, buddy?
Dude, I love what Crispy O did here, right? I love the strategery of it. One, he got the Colts quarterback room. So whether you
both,
we talked about a name, you hate fucking A-Rich or you don't hate A-Rich, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Doesn't matter. You got the other one. If I'm wrong on A-Rich, boom, Danny Dimes is in there. And then so the way I'll break this down is in a lineup start 10, Adam, I can be lineup leagues. I can be very comfortable rostering backup quarterbacks, right?
Yeah,
best ball leagues
and plenty of them, right? You don't have to worry about the zero.
Leagues, best ball leagues. If you have too many of them, you're worried about the zeros every single week. You're making a bet against yourself, right? It's actually a better play to have a wide receiver 4 on their own NFL team who may pop off for a 60-yard touchdown one week and not do shit any other time. But
Ashton
I want that potential.
Doolin.
Yeah, I want fucking Trenton Irwin. Still haunts my dreams, Adam.
Listen, that got me excited. I'm not gonna lie to you.
But so in a lineup league, I like the heady play because I can roster a lot of backup quarterbacks and not really have to worry about it. Mm-hmm. So I lock down the Colts quarterback room. Now let's talk about this from the rosiest of outcomes, right?
Sure.
For me and how I break this one down. If A-Rich does what he has done in the past as far as fantasy production, he is more valuable to your team than a Brock Purdy will be. Right?
On the high end for sure.
Right? Definitely on the I'm not even saying A-Rich has to become a superstar.
But you're talking like just where WoRP will fall, where the points per game will fall even. Yep.
Correct. A-Rich is more valuable than Brock Purdy. Now, the combination of the two, because we do know A-Rich is dealing with a shoulder injury. He's got Daniel Jones breathing down his neck. We don't know what the fuck Steichen even thinks of A-Rich, whether he likes him or he doesn't like him. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, sure.
I locked up the quarterback room. Now, let's say Daniel Jones is the starter for the whole fucking year. Okay? It's no more A-Rich. Sure. I am going to lose from Brock Purdy to Daniel Jones.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we saw Daniel Jones have one good season. I mean, the bet is not very good 1-for-1 in this situation, right? And what is scary about it, I think, for market or people that don't want to take that side on, is the long-term game of Indianapolis could very well be in the market again if things go really poorly, right? I don't expect that to be the case, but they certainly could be, and maybe they don't get one that they really like. But I mean, that's the probably downside risk, right?
I'll say this: in a lineup league, you take every other piece out of this deal except for A-Rich, Daniel Jones, and Brock Purdy. I would trade my Brock Purdy for A-Rich and Daniel Jones combination in the lineup league.
Really?
Every time.
Interesting.
Every single time.
I was going to actually get to the asking you. I thought you might say no, but I love that you went aggressive and just put it out there.
Right off the rip.
Now, that.
Let's get to the rest of it. Right? If you told me I had to trade Ricky Pearsall and a first, as much as I love Ricky P, but I get Lad McConkey, already I'm like...
That alone,
I think in a lineup start 10, I think I make that fucking trade.
Now, what's up with this hillbilly, too? Yeah, what's up with this hillbilly guy? Yeah?
You tell me I get a second back? Just a fuck, here, take this. I don't want it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So I love the fucking deal construction, too, because it makes so much sense to me on so many levels. So Crispy Yo, I think, smashed this one out of the fucking park.
Yeah, I think, here's what I will say. I think you definitely can understand the quarterback risk, but the way it worked out and you constructed it, I think the odds are in your favor, right? May the odds ever be in your favor, because the Ladd versus Pearsall bet, certainly if Pearsall takes a big step forward and talent, starts to shift where he becomes the one there, like I like Ricky Pearsall, but even still, like he's going to have to take leaps and bounds forward probably, as well as Ladd maybe taking a little bit of a step back here to get to the point where we're even thinking that a Pearsall in a first is now getting to the Ladd McConkey range. So here's what I think is kind of sneaky about it. The second in either A-Rich or Daniel Jones, if we ever do get some clarity, all of a sudden that is some extra grease here, right, to play with as well in the season. Like, how many times, Mike, have you seen in a lineup start 10 league where you can use a second round pick where you can go buy a legitimate starter for the last 8 weeks of the season and fill a hole, right?
Yes, very often. I mean, what does Alvin Kamara cost? Come on. Right? What's James Conner, DeAndre Swift?
Right.
Guys, Tony Pollard. What the fucking guys we talked about last night? Like, we see what they cost right now. It might be a second, right?
Yeah.
It's not a very good one.
I don't even think I need to go to the lab. It doesn't really matter. Like a late second, an early second, a mid second, they all can buy you a very nice piece when needed, Mike. So I wasn't expecting to go this easily into it, and I know people might be saying I'm underplaying the stack. I don't know. I don't value the stack of Purdy and Pearsall all that highly. Maybe I should take it a little more into consideration. I'm just not like, that'd be nice. It's just a nice piece. It's not something I'm moving the trade for. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I like this deal a lot.
For $25, I'll take that fucking risk on in a heartbeat,
for
buddy.
$25. Hey, speaking of Anthony Richardson.
Hey, guess who's back for America's game. Speaking of which, this coming up Thursday, so less than a week from when you're watching this, episode 100, Mike, myself, and Eric Van Eck will be doing episode 100 of America's Game. But before we get to that, Mike, how about a second from, what a great name, Panty Hamsters. Would you rather have the Panty Hamster side or the A-Rich side here?
For anybody who didn't catch AMA from 2 weeks ago. In
case you missed that, very hard to miss, but in case you missed Mike going off on the people, telling them everything they needed to hear, how about one more time?
I started by saying a late first for A-Rich. Like, I'm really strongly considering Mike, sending that. For
let me tell you what you said. This is etched into my brain, okay, at this point when everything going on. I mean, at this point, sending a late first for A-Rich, that's even a heady move. That was literally what he said. I'm like, oh, shit. We are starting this off nice and
Where
nice
do you
and
think
savage.
I'm at? Where do you think I am with a random second? Like, yes. Jesus. Yes.
I mean,
yes,
Mike,
everywhere. I don't give a fuck if I'm rebuilding Adam. I'll send that second. Like, you take it. I'll take A-Rich and see if I can get the upside.
I was just going to say, Mike, you talked about the 201 in a prior deal. Even at a 201, like if you told me the worst case scenario is this becomes a 201, sure. Like, okay, you feel like you overpaid for A-Rich. But I think, I guess, to me, if it ends up being where he never gets a start again, it is in the range of outcomes. But there's also a wide range where maybe he sits for a full year. Maybe he sits for a year and a half. But anytime A-Rich is, whether it's an injury in front of him or he actually gets a Justin Fields-like opportunity, the moment he's playing, I'm going to want to put him into my lineup just because of the way he's stylistically going to play the game. And for those that want to hate, yes, I don't care what you say. Like, he can run even if you think he's a terrible thrower of the football. So that also gives me flexibility, right? If I now think I can put A-Rich into my lineup, I can trade some quarterbacks away and potentially get risky. And the second round pick, Mike, more often than not, isn't going to get me anything other than what I feel like is a gross replacement at the quarterback position in season, right?
Yeah. Yes. I
Not to mention, this is best ball, too, where Now, you don't want to carry too many zeros, but, Mike, I'll happily carry 3 to 5 on most of these rosters. And Rich, if he's my zero, buddy, we're making some cuts pretty easy now. We're happy to move on.
2 quarterback league. Mr. Wonderful right now in the driver's seat didn't have a good, third quarterback to slot in.
Mike, can I tell you the amount of times, and we're talking certainly on one hand here, where I'm like, Mr. Wonderful, what the hell were you doing here? More often than I'm like,
he did have a good one. Yeah, Kyler Murray. Holy shit! Now he has A. Rich as his 4th. Oh fuck.
Yeah, it's like when you add Matthew Stafford in a deal as your 5th quarterback. It's that type of shit. Except for there's upside with A. Rich.
Matthew Pather.
Yeah, don't even get me started. I didn't even want him in the deal. I didn't want his ass.
Who the fuck are most of these turds?
Here, can I tell you what we got, though? Buddy, listen, this is all good stuff. We got a new patron. Shout out to patreon.com/South Harmon. If you want your deal featured on the show, just like a Sandy umbrella, it's always sunny playing fantasy football. And this is a 10-team, Mike. So you want to talk about, we're going to send you out of here on the right note. We're going to send you out of here in a fun time. Mike, let me ask you. One too many cooks. I think Mike would disagree. I think he says he would prefer to have 2 more cooks in this league. 10-team lineup start 11. We're getting Keenan Allen, Pacheco, a 3rd and a 1st in 2027, or Calvin Austin, Anthony Richardson, Jonathan Brooks, 28 4th. I can take this from Mike. A. Rich in a 12-team league is a totally different conversation than in a 10-team league. This is ridiculously dumb and outrageously sunny for a Sandy umbrella.
Yes.
Just because of the first. Just because of the first.
Everything I just said nice about A-Rich applies to 12, 14, 16-team Superflex leagues. Okay?
Right.
I don't give a fuck.
You get down to 10. Here's the thing. At 10, in a 10-team league, I could understand, sending the 3rd or a Keenan Allen. But after that, no, I'll have to get a different quarterback. I don't have to, play the waiting game here in a 10-team league.
Calvin Austin in a 10-team league, who gives a fuck at all? That waivers.
Same with Brooks.
Same with Jonathan Brooks. Waivers.
And a 28 4th? How does this happen?
The 4th, who gives a shit? A-Rich, if you acquired A-Rich in a 10-team Superflex league because you're like, listen, if Mike is right about A-Rich, this could be a warp difference maker even in a 10-team Superflex league. I get that. If the price was Keenan Allen and Pacheco or, Pacheco in the 3rd or whatever, okay, I don't really give a shit. I'm not as excited about it, but fuck, you shoot your shot on A-Rich, man, because I'm giving up Pacheco in the 3rd. I could really give a fuck less about Keenan Allen, who doesn't have a team. I could give a shit. Add those in. You put that 1st in there in a 10-team Superflex league with quarterbacks devalued, and I'm always trying to hit those home runs on those giant skill players, those elite skill players, those wide receivers, those running backs that run 10-team Superflex leagues. Jesus Christ, man. You can have all my A-Rich for this. All of it. I'll take the free Keenan Allen, the Isaiah Pacheco in the 3rd. You can have all this other junk that I don't give a shit about.
Listen, a Sandy umbrella, I like the name, I like the creativity, I like the trade here, okay? But this early, it's we didn't have any foreplay here. The way you just showed this to me, you just pulled it out on me. I mean, how do you sleep at night? This team that he traded A-Rich to for this haul already has Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, and Matthew Stafford.
Why the fuck are you getting another quarterback?
But this is exactly the point in 10-team league. Why, if you look across, just because of numbers and the way math works and scarcity, more often than not, everyone's going to have 3 quarterbacks. Now, they may not be as highly valued as those guys, but you're going to have 3. A-Rich is slotting in as a penciling in and quarterback 4. Why are we paying a 27 first for a quarterback 4 in a lineup league?
Yes. I don't get it. I don't understand.
Especially because you can't play the quarterback horde market here. It doesn't exist.
It's a simple numbers game, and I talked about it a little bit in the Discord today, in regards to a 10-team trade, right? In 10-team leagues, it changes everything for me between that and 12-team. For the simple fact, 12 teams, right? We got 12 teams. Superflex leagues, everybody's going to need 24 starters. There's 32 teams in the league.
Correct.
Ideally, if you're building a good Superflex team, Adam, you want a 3rd quarterback. So now the number's up to 36, only 32 starters in the league.
Yeah,
right?
we don't have these college teams that have, split quarterbacks, right?
This isn't factoring in bye weeks too, where sometimes
I was just going to say by week 5. by the time you get to week 5 or 6, you're looking at a lot of times 4, 5, 6 quarterbacks and teams not playing. So
10-team league math here. Follow along. It's pretty simple. I'm a dummy and I can still figure it out. Everybody wants 2 quarterbacks, right? 2 starters for sure. That's 20. 32 teams, okay? Now we want a third. We want a third guy in there, right? We want a third just to rotate in for bye weeks, injuries.
Is this one of those? Is this one of those IQ tests? I feel like I don't know how to make this puzzle work.
Multiply it by 3. 30 quarterbacks is the number that we're at. How many teams in the league? 32. So there's 2 extra quarterbacks, starting quarterbacks out there floating, either as QB4s on somebody's teams, or here's the crazy thing you see all the time. These waiver quarterbacks that we go nuts for in 12-team Superflex leagues because we're so short on scarcity, especially with bye weeks. A lot of times in those 10-team leagues, those fucking dudes are just chilling on waivers, just hanging out. Just
the math.
And
seems
some
to
people
check
don't
out.
even bid on them. They don't even give a fuck. They're like, I don't
because
want
they
this
already
guy.
have 5 quarterbacks.
They don't give a shit.
And you can't hoard them. Like, this is the crazy part about this. Like, both of these teams, because it's a 10-team league, they got one too many cooks. They do. They're fine everywhere.
Yeah.
This is a deal where, Mike, nobody should be doing this. Sometimes the best thing you can do is just not trade, right? Because you'll end up doing something like this.
Something terrible.
Which is why, Mike, can I tell you one of the things when you talked that A-Rich video, when I'm talking that Rome video, one of the things I try my best to do, I'm not perfect, I won't always give you all of it, but I try my best to give context, and I want context when I ask questions, when I'm giving examples, when I'm buying, when I'm selling, because one trade difference, right, where we're looking at like A-Rich for a second over there in the 12 team. Oh, come on, man, this is simple. We get over here and it's like, well, you just said for a second. What about a first now? It's not that much different. Yes, it is. Everything changed. It's all different. It's not.
League context, man. And it'd be great if we had this tool where you could plug it in and you could see the graph on how much quarterbacks usually don't fucking matter in 10-team Superflex.
Is this Glade? Plug it in, plug it in.
And butthole pleasures.
It's not about butthole pleasures at all.
It's not about this rusty trombone and dirty Sanchez.
Mike, that's all I got, man. That is a one hell of a way to just get over on your league mates.
Yep.
That's a good. I mean, listen, that's a good trade though. I mean, that's one of those trades where if you can get off of A-Rich for a first in a 12-team league, it can be polarizing. And I can see why you might even want to do it. In a 10-team league is like, what? Thank you.
What are we doing?
I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to get off of this asset for a first. Easy peasy. If you are like a Sandy Umbrella and you want to just come flex and say, hey, look, tell me how good this was or what you think of it. Like, the crazy part, you already brought this up. Calvin Austin doesn't have a market in 14-team leagues. And Jonathan Brooks is an asset that if I still have at this point, it's just like kind of dead weight. Everything on that side is not the one you want. But if you want to come show us your deal, whether it's a flex, whether it's we need to dunk on you, we need to talk some shit to Metro, shit talking Metro, patreon.com/South Harmon. Also, tonight, we record the trade show on Thursdays. Give us a day to edit, get it to you, premiere it. Thursday night, Savage Semester. We are back, baby. We are fucking back. It's fun. Mike, I got a great game. It's going to be fun. I'm curious to see your ball knowledge. See if you guys are ball knowers over there at Savage Semester. And let's just go ahead and do this, man. Let's just go ahead and, if you're not me and you don't curse everything and Nick Chubb, sign shit, get some signed memorabilia, decorate the place. The crazy part is not only are they great, but the giveaways, like it's not a giveaway, but we had a giveaway from these guys. But the box breaks they have as well, it's kind of like getting deals like a Sandy Umbrella sometimes. You're like, holy crap, you see what I just got? I barely paid anything for this.
Exactly.
This is like taking candy from a baby.
I got that Mike Tyson punch out right up there. That signed Mike Tyson punch out by Mr. Mike Tyson. Yeah. That was a $50 entry, my guy. $50. $50.
Holy Santa Claus shit. Even better. We got him when we're 40.
Now it's priceless. I'd probably trade a kid for another one. You know what I mean? Talk about making deals.
Yeah. I mean, I'll go up to the elite tier for sure for that. And if you do want to get yourself some gear, jerseys, memorabilia, all over the place, fan gear, Fanatics, our sponsor and partner, certified shit, sh.it. Go check those out. Signed sh.it, certified sh.it. Don't forget to dot the I. Don't forget to tell them we sent you. Speaking of sent you, Mike, I think we're getting ready to send them out of here. Trade show, man. It's on a weekly basis. It's just a staple at this point. It's easy. Like the Staples button. So we will see you back here. Same time, same place for the trade show next week. We're out of here. Peace.